Last night I'm watching Fox News Channel, and Mike Lewis, my Comico County sheriff, was on talking about his experiences here in Baltimore, and I told you about it. Mm-hmm. I did not know that he's an old colleague of yours and a friend of yours.
I had the pleasure of meeting the sheriff when he was a trooper. He was with the Maryland State Police for his first career, and that's where I met him, and I completely trusted him. I put him in charge of the most important new unit in the state, the Interstate Criminal Enforcement Team, the ICE unit, where they were responsible for, removing guns, basically guns and drugs from Maryland highways, and it became a national story, and he's one of the most talented police officers I've ever met in my 24 years as a cop. So.
And Sheriff Lewis joins us right here in the Norris and Davis Show. Sheriff, thanks for being here.
My pleasure, sir. Good morning, guys.
So I'm just going to ask you, rather than play which we did earlier, play what you said last night. I'll just ask you about, tell us how you ended up in Baltimore with some of your people, and what you experienced and what the orders were that night for police on Monday.
Well, I hadn't planned to go to Baltimore at all. I watched the events unfold Saturday night like we all did, and was very concerned about what I saw Saturday night and the lack of response Saturday night. Made no comments, didn't want to make any comments. On Monday, I heard the urgent call, a request from our governor for an additional 600 riot-equipped police officers into Baltimore City. He also asked for 50 additional prisoner transport vans and 10 armored vehicles. I immediately rallied up the troops. We made sure that our MRAP was prepared and ready. We made sure it was prepared a week ago. We loaded everything up and we headed to Baltimore. And when we got to Baltimore, of course, I checked in the Baltimore Police City headquarters. They assigned me one of their police radios. We were assigned to protect Baltimore City Police headquarters, all of East Fayette Street up to City Hall, to include City Hall. And there wasn't a whole lot of activity taking place at all. We could smell that putrid smell of burning tires and the city on fire as we came into the city, quite frankly. Had lots of concerns like everybody else. We maintained our post all night long until we were relieved shortly after 3 o'clock on Tuesday afternoon. We went to the Days Inn in Baltimore, grabbed about 3 hours sleep, came back out, and immediately went down to Ground Zero right there, Pennsylvania and North Street, where all the activity was taking place. And I was sick to my stomach like everybody else, but in the many hours we stood our initial post on East Fayette Street, the dozens and dozens, and I don't mean a few, I'm probably 200 to 300 police officers that came into Baltimore City Police headquarters. Many were coming right out of the war zone. This was urban warfare, no question about it. And they were coming in absolutely beaten down and got out of their vehicles, thanked us profusely for being there, apologized to us for having to be there. They said, we could have handled this, we're very capable of handling this, but we were told to stand down, repeatedly told to stand down. And I had never heard that order come from anyone. We went right out to our post as soon as we got there, so I never heard the mayor say that. But repeatedly, these guys, and there were many high-ranking commanders within the Baltimore City Police Department, from the rank of colonel, major, captains, lieutenants, sergeants, and of course those in the trenches. And these guys told me they had essentially been neutered from the start. They had been spayed from the start. They were told to stand down. You will not take any action. Let them destroy property. I couldn't believe it. I'm a 31-year veteran of law enforcement. As Colonel said, we worked together, and I had never heard anything like this before in my life. And these guys obviously aren't going to speak out. And the more I thought about this, I wasn't going to say anything publicly. When I was approached by a reporter at Ground Zero there at Pennsylvania Avenue, I had to say a few things. And I apologize if I upset people, but I believe in saying it like it is.
Sheriff, I've talking about this all morning, obviously, because people texting in. I got one that just came in. Someone who's in law enforcement said they listened to the scanner when the police were backing off, and they were screaming over and over the radio to stand down over and over again. If you've heard this, we've gotten people who are there saying this is the fact of it, and I can't tell you how many police officers saying this. How is this not? I mean, no one's come forward. Like, did anyone hear it over the radio? This person heard it.
I heard it myself over the Baltimore City Police radio that I had tethered to my body armored vest. I heard it repeatedly. Stand down, stand down, stand down, back up, retreat, retreat. I couldn't believe those words. Those are words I've never heard in my law enforcement vocabulary. Baltimore City Police, of all law enforcement agencies, are very capable of handling that city. They're trained to handle that city. And these guys were hearing words that had never been echoed in their lives and their careers. Stand down, back up, retreat, retreat. I heard it. I heard it myself on that police radio, and I couldn't believe it.
That's all I wanted to know.
So how can they be denying that this ever happened?
Well, it happened, sir. I heard it with my own ears. My commanders had two of my sergeants from the Wicomico County Sheriff's Office standing next to me, shaking their heads in disbelief. We couldn't believe what was going on. We couldn't believe these guys were being ordered to stand down, retreat, retreat.
I mean, that's all I wanted to know. I mean, this is now you're getting a first-hand account. This isn't we're getting text messaging and people calling in and can't go anywhere. You're getting a first-hand account from someone who's telling you they heard it, who is actually an elected official in the state. He's a sheriff of County. He's telling you he heard it himself. So where does discussion go from here? I mean, Mike, I don't even know what to say. I mean, I've never heard anything like that in my life either. I mean, to stand down, retreat.
Well, I want you to know I have received several emails from former, very high-ranking Baltimore City police officials after my appearance on the Hannity Show last night. Mm-hmm. And these guys were just, they're devastated over what happened. They're devastated. It's their police department. They grew up in that police department. They learned to be cops in that police department. Had we allowed our men to go in there and be cops, the city would not have burned. These businesses would not have burned. We would have had many people attending that Orioles game on the Tuesday afternoon. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
I have to ask both of you guys this. Me being a layperson, it would seem to me, with all the investigations we hear about, say, Benghazi and all of the congressional investigations, doesn't there need to be an investigation about this? And how does an investigation like this get conducted?
Well, I'll be honest with you, bring up Benghazi. What's happened with that? The person at the center may be your next president, so what good does that do? Because you got, think about, who's reporting the news and who's forming this situation here. Basically, you've got people who are very left-leaning reporting the news all over the country. What side do you think they're going to pick? And they're not objective. So, I mean, I'm just saying it, this is a real serious issue. We have
but there needs to be an investigation.
Okay, well, it does, but I mean, investigation is going to be reported. Is going to be a clamor for this? I'm hearing this from police officers. And Mike, you said that guys were just saying, I'm done. I've had the same experience. Guys saying, I'm retiring, I'm done.
Colonel, do you believe for 1 second that Mike Lewis went into Baltimore City on a recruiting mission, but yet I was being begged for my business cards for future employment down in Wicomico County? And I made absolutely no comments, zero comments at all to these Baltimore City police officers regarding their comments to me at having been neutered, having been castrated as police officers in Baltimore City. And they said, sir, we're getting out of here. Are you guys hiring? I said, actually, we do have one open vacancy down in Wicomico County. and
4,000 applications.
And they're asking me for my business card.
We're talking with Sheriff Mike Lewis from Wicomico County. I want to just your take on my question about an investigation.
Oh, I couldn't agree with the Colonel more about an investigation. Something certainly needs to be done to ensure the American people this never happens again. Baltimore City deserves an investigation.
Well, let me tell you now, we got a text message to a high-ranking police official. He isn't lying. Someone else said if he said it, it happened. So we're getting messages now from police leaders throughout the city saying it happened. I mean... Sheriff, Mike, I'm really proud that you stepped up, because if you didn't open the door, I don't know if, the guys in Baltimore City can't say anything.
Colonel, and I know our men and women in Baltimore City cannot say a word. It broke my heart, and I'm sorry. I love the men and women in uniform. It's as you well know, it's my blood. I breathe it. I sleep it. And to see these guys demoralized coming in and out and hearing their comments, hearing their short stories of being told to stand down, let them loot, let them destroy property, quote, it's only property. I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
I can't either.
This is unfathomable.
In my entire life, I can't imagine this.
All right. Sheriff, thank you so much for your time, and I'm sure, Ed, you'd say thank you for coming forward.
I thank him for his service all these decades. He taught me things I never knew.
Sheriff, thank you. Appreciate it.